Christina Hendricks is with the Athens-Limestone County Community Association. Did I get all the name? Did I get all the name in there?
It's Athens-Limestone Community Association.
Athens-Limestone Community Association. Okay. Welcome and congratulations. So you guys have actually, have completed the renovation of Trinity High School?
We are very close. We're about a month away.
Okay.
We started this project in 2013 in earnest, actually. We received a grant from the state of Alabama to renovate the former Trinity High School. And for your listeners and for others, this school was built back during 1865. It started in 1865. It was the first black high school and the only black high school in Limestone County before integration. It was open from 1865 to 1970.
Wow.
And we went through many renovations over time. One school was actually burned, another school was torn down and then rebuilt.
Can we just stop for a minute? Well, just two things to note. Well, so 1865 is a pivotal year. We all know that, right? Ending of the Civil War. Now, the burning, what happened that it was burned? Do you know?
It was back during the early 1900s that it was burned, and so there
was it arson or was it accidental?
It was part of it. It's to say that it was arson. So.
All right. So what we're really probably saying is that school was targeted because it was African American.
It could have been. I mean, history tells us that schools during that time, especially white people didn't want them to be educated, and some of those schools were targeted. But
there's nothing.
But there's nothing definite about that.
About that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's okay. And so the Athens-Limestone Community Association was organized in 1981, and their mission was to revive the old Trinity School so that it could be used as a community center and for the benefits of Athens and Limestone County. For residents, didn't matter if you went to school there or not. And over the years, fundraising kind of fell down and they had some hardships, but because of that grant in 2013 and the partnership with the City of Athens and Limestone County, we're able to open the new community center. And so it's going to be named the Pincham-Lincoln Center at the Trinity Fort Henderson complex. And the reason why we like to include Trinity and Fort Henderson in our title of everything is because Trinity was the name of the high school, but Fort Henderson was the Union fort that was on that land from 1863 to 1865. And so the story is it's the only place in Limestone County, and you could also say in the state of Alabama, where black people went from being a slave to a soldier to a scholar.
Wow.
Nice.
So it's a very good story, and there's so many people fought for their own freedom there, and then they were later educated there.
Nice.
The good story about Trinity was that it was, before it was taken over by the state of Alabama, it was a private school. So many people had to pay to go to school at Trinity, and we noticed just looking over pictures and going through the Limestone County archives, there were so many people who actually paid to go to school in the early 1900s. And, we think of that as, now, like school is so expensive. But back then it still was expensive. I mean, I heard stories of people saying $3 a year. And we don't think of that as anything now. You can go to Starbucks and get a $3 cup of coffee. But $3 back then was very expensive. And we noticed over time the graduating classes just grew tremendously. That people sent their kids there because they wanted them to get an education.
So hunger for learning and families they saw the possibility and the potential.
Right, and some of the graduates from there, there's a deep connection to many of the HBCUs in the South. So George Ruffin Bridgeforth went to Tuskegee University and he studied with Booker T. Washington. We had another graduate that sung with the Fisk Jubilee Singers. So there's a lot of good stories about many of our graduates, and even the ones that are alive today that graduated in the late 60s and 1970 that have just magnificent stories to share within our state.
This is a wonderful story. This is just wonderful. So your ribbon cutting is going to be when?
It'll be Thursday, December 17th, located right there in downtown Athens at 606 Trinity Circle. And it's a great time for people to come out and see the new building and see all the things that we're going to have inside the building. We're very excited about a mural that's going to be placed inside the building. It's actually going to have pictures from the 1800s all the way up to 1970 that's going to show the history of Trinity. Because we want people, when they come into the building, to understand not only the sacrifices that Black people had to make to go there, but the fact that this was a community effort. The founding principal was a white woman. Mm-hmm. She came from the North.
Not unusual.
Yeah, not unusual during
yeah.
that time. The
Yeah.
American Missionary Association sent out teachers from all over to go and educate people. And the story is that those teachers showed up with a Bible in one hand and a reader in the other hand.
Wow.
And I'm going to say this, just from knowing what little bit I know about the history of that time, that in some cases, and I would assume probably most cases, white people who showed up in the South during the Reconstruction era to educate Black people did so at some risk.
That's right.
Because
risk.
there were people in the communities that they were coming into who did not want them educating Black people, as you said earlier. So they did so at some risk. I know with my alma mater, Oakwood University, that was certainly the case. You know, again, the first principals of what eventually became Oakwood University, but started as Oakwood Industrial School, were white people who were coming down here to do what they believed to be God's work, you know, and God blessed them for that. But they also faced, criticisms and in some cases worse than that from, people in the community. So God bless these people for doing that.
That's right.
That is absolutely awesome.
So will any of the graduates that you mentioned be in attendance at the opening?
Yes, there will be. We have invited many of the classes. There's a group within the city of Athens, the Trinity Grand Reunion group. They're kind of like an alumni association for the school, and they still get together every 2 years. And so we've made sure to reach out to them because we want the graduates and former students to come back and see their old school, even though it may not be the school that they graduated from because the school was renovated at different times during the year. We still want them to come and see the land and see how we've improved that particular area. And then we've also reached out to a few teachers as well who are still alive. And
Awesome.
so that's something that's quite impressive because those ladies and men are, in their 80s and their 90s, and they're going to be able to come out and see their former school.
Is there a
Beautiful.
website?
Beautiful.
We are currently
Building?
building our website right now. We've made some changes to it, and so we're going to launch our new website next week along with our social media platforms. So we're very
Good.
excited about
Right.
turning everything over next week.
Please make
Wow,
sure. Yeah,
that
do
is
you have my
awesome.
email address?
I do.
That is
Okay.
awesome.
Make sure that you email me that website information. Before you go, we've got to ask you about how you pull this off. Because as we said earlier, we got Council High School here in Huntsville, and there's been a real struggle to try to figure out what to do with that building, how to save it, how to repurpose it. And groups have tried, and an alliance with the city was formed that went nowhere. I would like to hear, to whatever extent you can, a step-by-step explanation of how you all pulled this off.
So I will say that the first thing that we've been able to do was make sure that there was a partnership in place with the city of Athens and Limestone County. And our mayor, Ronnie Marks, has done an excellent job of going around and telling people in town that he wants Athens to be beautiful. And he made sure when he first got in office that he said he wanted to make sure that Trinity High School was taken care of. And he, along with then Council President Jimmy Gill, worked very hard with the Athens-Limestone Community Association.
Jimmy Gill is African American,
He
right?
is. He's actually a graduate of Trinity High School,
I know
class of
him, or used to
1966.
know him, yeah.
And he, along with ALCA and the mayor and so many other county commissioners and then state representatives at the time, got together and decided that they wanted to make this a priority. So doing that, along with getting a grant and then fundraising from many corporations in town, people far away, and also our graduates have really put this plan into action. And so, like I said, we started in earnest about 2013, and here we are at 2015 to get this off the ground. There have been a lot of discussions early on, in the early 2000s to get this going, and especially by Judge Pincham, who the center is named after. He's one of the prominent graduates, and he was an appellate attorney in Chicago, but he's from Athens, and he passed away a few years ago. But he and Dr. C. Eric Lincoln were pivotal into getting
The C. Eric
yes,
Lincoln?
He graduated from Trinity High School.
Whoa, what?
Yes.
See, Eric Lincoln, the historian,
The
graduated
historian.
from Trinity High School
That's
in
right.
Athens?
Wow.
I'd never heard that.
That's right. Learn a little history every day.
Wow.
He's a novelist,
Wow.
wrote 22 books.
Wow.
That's right.
It's just so confirming, to listen to this, because it connects it back to when the slaves were freed, and then the names that you're dropping are connected directly back. And had this not happened, we wouldn't have the people that we're talking about today who've made such a difference for our community. It's just awesome.
It is absolutely awesome.
That's right. That's right. And those two men there's so many pictures that we've found over the years of them sitting together talking about how they can get this program and get this building back in order. They wanted to save their beloved school. They were graduates in the early 1940s and just always wanted to see Trinity thriving and wanted that area thriving. And so the board decided to name the center after them.
Awesome.
Because of their love for Trinity High School. Wow.
Wow. That is awesome.
How much money did you guys get in terms of grant?
So the initial grant was for $290,000, and then there was another grant that was probably around $30,000 or $40,000. And then, of course, there was tons of fundraising over the years, and I would hate to leave out the fact that we've gotten funds from just individual donors. I mean, there are people out there that will send a check for $10 every month.
Wow.
And that's crazy to even think of, because we think of that as such a small amount, but they're taking that on and saying that's something that they have a passion for.
Who did they send it to? The organization?
To the organization, to the Athens-Limestone Community Association.
And how much money do you think you got from individuals?
It would be hard for me to even guess on that.
I mean, do you think over 100,000?
Oh, yes.
Over 200,000?
I'm not quite sure, but
Mhm.
I would
But
say
over
definitely
100,000?
over 100,000, yes.
So, the support of the community and these grants are what made this possible,
Right.
ultimately, funded it.
And it's really been a community effort. And when I say community, I don't just mean from black people. This is from white people. This is
Sure.
from young people. This is from
Sure.
old people. There are so many folks, even my age. I did not graduate from Trinity High School, but
'Cause
they
you're
have
young.
a
You're
passion
young.
for this,
Yeah.
and they want to see history preserved, and so they've decided to donate to this.
Trinity was been closed by the
Right.
time you came on the scene. Yeah.
And people from as far away
Yeah.
as Israel and Russia have donated because they are from Athens and they live overseas, and they found out through social media that this is such a good project and they wanted to donate to this project. So it's been very good for us.
Well, I just, no offense to anybody, but I'm just going to say it. I sure wish somebody here would take the page from what you all have done and apply that to Council High School.
Well, it starts with prayer, number one.
There you go.
It starts with prayer, and then it starts with togetherness after that. That you have to be unified, and you have to be together in what you're doing.
Good for you.
You're pretty sharp. You're a pretty sharp young lady. Now, you say that you do PR for...
NASA Marshall Space Flight Center.
Okay. Okay. Christina Hendricks. Very good. This is awesome. And you didn't grow up in Athens, right?
I did grow up
Oh,
in
you
Athens.
did grow up in Athens. Oh, okay.
Hey, go on and shout your church out.
Sweet Home Missionary Baptist Church, where Reverend Jeffrey Mosley is my pastor.
You trying to get points with the mother-in-law, Steve?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
That's right. But if people still want to donate to ALCA, they can do that. We have a P.O. Box. It's P.O. Box 1476, Athens, Alabama 35612. And we also have a GoFundMe page, and so they can definitely donate online, and so I'll send that information to y'all if you want to post it somewhere.
And just before we go, so the ongoing use is going to be what again?
It'll be a community center, and so we've been working with different organizations that can come in and rent out the facility for outreach purposes and educational enrichment. The grant was written so that we'll make sure that it's about educating our youth and our adults in job skill training and things of that nature, because we just don't want it to be used for a place where people aren't learning. Trinity was about learning. It was about growth, and we want to stay true to that mission.
Preserve that legacy.
That's right.
That's great. This is very impressive. I'm just very, very impressed. Thank you,
Thank you.
Christina Hendricks. All right. So again, the ribbon cutting is
Thursday, December 17th at 10 a.m.
all right. Good. Very good. Very good. Awesome. All right, we'll take a break and then we'll wrap things up here on WEUP Talk, Talking Gospel. That's just really impressive.